Welcome everybody to the DC New 52 review. I want to thank you for tuning into this episode. I am your host, Paulie DC, and let's get into another one of these things. Today, I will review Green Lantern Corps Vol.2. It was titled Alpha War, and it was written by Peter J. Tomasi with art by Fernando Pasarin and Scott Hanna, with issues 8 to 14 plus 0 being released between June 2012 and January of 2013. The New 52 Green Lantern Corps series teamed up two characters that debuted a couple years apart, John Stewart and Guy Gardner, a duo of very tough GLs that have been through dozens of adventures together and individually, with here being no different as it was non-stop action among all corners of the universe. Now, there are some things that carry over from Volume 1, such as John having to end a fellow Lantern's tenure in lethal fashion. Plus, it is important to mention that throughout the 4 Green Lantern titles, the Guardians of the Universe were planning extremely devious things which got heavily expanded on here. Issue number 8 immediately introduces us to 5 high-level GLCs referred to as the Alpha Lanterns. We have Boudica, named after the Celtic warrioress with different spelling here, Green Man, who has teamed up with the Omega Men, Varex, who goes back to 1986, then there's 2 Jeff Johns creations, the Centaur-like Relok Hag, and kinda creepy looking Horok Knot. The reason they are all also coming together in their chamber is because the death of Kurt Kalak at John's hand must be made public, and this quintet even has their own oath quote due to taking on special abilities, basically leaving them emotionless. You may also be thinking as well, only Green Lantern Vandor knew that John had to put down another Green Lantern, so how did the Alphas find out? Moving on to another part of OA, Guy and Johnny are leading the job of fully securing Sinestro's Yellow Lantern Corps Central Battery, which he and Hal Jordan brought to the planet in Green Lantern number 6, except Gardner is hating every bit of this, including the fact that Old Thal is a GL again, so he expedites the current process of securing their package alone, much to the chagrin of everyone else, and especially the pedantic administrator member Salak, who, unknown to me, was created by Marv Wolfman and Joe Staton. He goes on to give Gardner crap about his choices while letting it be known all of the Yellow Lanterns that are offline reside in the Green Lantern Science Cell prison, confirmed by Warden member Voz. Almost every Yellow Lantern in one spot, huh? Yep, that's called foreshadowing, but for here now, Guy is suddenly asked to a meeting with the Guardians of the Universe where instead of a anticipated punishment coming, his little blue bosses actually say he's been looked over due to the other Earth Green Lanterns and they want to give him a raise for a new commander position, which even has Gardner himself laughing his ass off until realizing the comments are legit, so he accepts this offer, no questions asked. Did that seem totally random? Hell yes, and it's obvious that this was setting up not good things for him. Guy is in a pretty swell mood after that for the time being as he heads to his space bar called Warriors for a drink and a chat with John. However, he can't break the news because some alien mercenary goons come into the place looking for a fight, and when Guy's diffusion attempts fail, a huge barroom brawl erupts with an awesome double-page spread to show it all. Until things are broken up by the Alpha Lanterns blasting inside wanting to arrest John. Issue number 9 continues right from the previous, with the Alpha Lanterns demanding John give himself up, but Guy has other ideas, telling the clearly not liked ALs to piss off, which every present Green Lantern backs him up on, leading into a massive standoff. No problem for Boudica and her mates as they flex their power to push everyone away. Another sweet art piece here. Then the group displays construct evidence of Stewart murdering Kurt, which Guy tries to stop, thinking it's a lie, but John has to stop him while admitting it's the truth. Of course, Vandor tries to defend Johnny, providing details since he was the only eyewitness, but all the other GLs appear to be split on their feelings toward the decision, forcing Gardner to get into the middle of everyone, only to be halted by his closest friend saying he will give up his ring before being taken away to await trial. Guy next finds the GOTUs to plead his, or rather John's, case, but they tell him the Alphas have broken no laws during their policing of the Corps and a fair trial will be set. However, Guy has suspicion about this because Hal Jordan also recently came into trouble that got him exiled, plus Guy is unaware that Kyle Rayner was almost expelled too, so that would make him even more suspicious, meaning something's definitely up, and this is confirmed by the Guardians themselves with their plans for something called a Third Army. Anyway, a couple of disgruntled Green Lanterns enter Oa's crypt where they grab the Keeper Morrow in order to remove Kurt's statue, until being stopped by Guy, who has firm words for a lantern named Vath, who's got a human upper half and I'm not real sure on the lower, but he and the few others back off, allowing Gardner to next attend John's trial, where fellow Lantern Mallet Dassim will prosecute him. Which makes sense with his first name being another word for gavel, an object used in many courts. However, things are very fishy right away as there's strangely no logs of the entire events involving Kurt's death, just the ending, and Johnny then tries to testify in his own defense before Guy steps up ready to hit the stand with lots to say, only for the scene to comedically cut to Stewart in a jail cell with a pissed off Gardner beside him, and they're talking about how the Guardians of the Universe oddly had very little involvement in this trial, even though that was the opposite for when Green Lantern female Lara killed Abin Sur's son and Sinestro's nephew, Amon Sur. There's even mention of a moment when Guy nearly killed rogue GL Sodam Yacht, or Ion, from Daxamite. Yes, a lot of things happened in the pre-New 52 that are pretty interesting and not really involved here, just spoken on. Storytime ends though after Warden Lantern Vaz calls John out for his verdict, which is totally surprisingly guilty, except a death sentence is announced with it. Damn. Issue number 10 opens on John being in the completely wrong type of spotlight, thinking just for a moment maybe he should have called Cochran, Shapiro, and Kardashian, while everyone from Guy and Salak to Kilowog and Sheriff Marden are shocked about the execution order. The Alpha Lanterns then tell all of those in attendance to disperse, but due to sensing unrest among the Green Lantern Corps now, they take John to their private tower wherein he has a quick chat with Varex containing heavy words, which you know is gonna have effect later on. Stewart does have a request in the meantime, and that's to see Kurt's family again, and as Mr. Kalak's ring is seen looking for a new owner, his parents and little brother have varying reactions to the truth about why John had to kill their family member, plus not telling them the truth at first. What the hell would you do? Next up, the Alphas get together with the Guardians and Guy to discuss the method of Johnny's execution, which the ALs try to back out on, but Gardner is right there to say grow a spine and finish what they started. And with the little blue guys not wanting much inclusion, they simply agree with that. Guy follows this up with some antagonization of Boudica before visiting John to deliver apparently a final meal, aka cereal, which was far from his request. But before you think that's super disrespectful, a good old dose of jailbreaking commences shortly after thanks to an assist from other GLs that Gardner rallied. John, however, isn't on board for the shenanigans, trying to pull away from his comrades such as Kilowog, Isamat Cole, Brick, and a few others who hold off the Alpha Lanterns. Stewart still isn't agreeing to join in on this chaos, so Guy just knocks him out while getting over to the green central battery for a ring recharge, except that may not do much good because the Alphas reveal a special ability as the fighting continues, which allows them to completely drain other Green Lantern rings. Well, that's not fair. Issue number 11 kicks off with more fighting, actually more like realizing that the Alpha Lanterns are going to neutralize all the Green Lanterns trying to go against them right now, and there's nothing they can do about it. However, Verex becomes to grow highly demoralized with this internal rift in the core beginning to back off, but Boudica is ready to tear someone a new ass, demanding that Salak lock down Oa's airspace, allowing him to have a pretty boss moment saying, "Screw you and you know where I'm at." So, along with this, plus some decoy constructs that I can't believe the Alphas fell for, John and Guy are able to get away. It turns out they never left Oa, instead going below to the foundry where green rings and lanterns are made, and after Johnny gets some knuckle-busting payback on Gardner, he thanks him for the save as he no longer wants to die in some martyr fashion. Good choice, bro. Anyhow, the forge itself is useless to them both at the moment, but in total tucked away in the basement fashion, our two stars find the old workshop where the Guardians of the Universe first creations were crafted, then left behind because these inventions known as the Manhunter robots went rogue millennia ago, slaughtering countless lives. Perfect material for Stewart to use his architect knowledge on to build something new. Over to some jail cells, all the GLs that aided Guy and John have been caught and are being harshly punished / interrogated, with Kilowog being quick to say, "Good luck getting any info." This is all then followed up by Verex again not enjoying any of this. He doesn't have to endure much though because G and J stage their assault on the Alpha Lanterns accompanied by hundreds of cobbled together attack robots. You also can't help but appreciate the details that went into this double page spread. Awesome work. Salak adds big help again here as well, asking any available lanterns to engage the Alphas while the Guardians just watch from their citadel, not seeming to care about these events which are spiraling into Verex trying to subdue Guy and John, the other Alpha Lanterns blasting these striking robots apart, and dozens of assisting Green Lanterns working on freeing up their incarcerated comrades, which is successful right in tandem with the Alphas defeating their foes, except a way bigger problem arises next for those five, with Verex noticing a humongous sci-fi Ray Harryhausen type monster having been unleashed on them. Wow. Gardner and Stewart outdid themselves. Issue number 12 concludes this storyline as Verex demands the massive creature that is mentioned to be fueled by foundry energy that was astutely siphoned be shut down, but Boudica, being the fierce gal that she is, along with Green Man, welcomes the new challenge, exhibiting their power again by roughly forcing all the Green Lanterns away from them. The battle wages on though, with scenes being shown of everything that's happening in total chaotic manner, climaxing on Varex, taking it to John and Guy, while the titanous techno monster they created, now being called the Amalgam, is starting to falter. The Alphas then find the chink in its armor, expelling large amounts of energy through its weak points, causing implosion. Then the Five follow that up with a ring-draining attack on all the GLs and are finally able to arrest Johnny and Gardner. Well, actually, Varex quite suddenly now decides to betray his other alphas by uncuffing the two, and they take full advantage by surprising their enemies with random knowledge of being aware that they keep their lanterns literally inside them. So after a chest-ripping removal, the alpha lanterns become half dead. Varex then ends things for good by, I'm honestly not really sure, but after a big light show, Boudica, Heroic, Relloc, and Greenman are killed. Guy and John's thankful words fall on deaf ears though, due to Varex having a incredibly beyond difficult moral dilemma now, which ultimately consumes him as he commits Green Ring seppuku, but he removes his head instead of his internal organs. Shit. Our two heroes then unexplainably hear their rings yell, "Let me out," an occurrence that happened to main characters in Red Lanterns and Green Lantern New Guardians issue 12, but more importantly, out of respect, a ceremony is held for the Alpha Lanterns in the crypt led by Lantern Morrow. Even more important to finish though, the Guardians of the Universe reveal they planned for the ALs to be eliminated and even provided them with the footage of John killing Kurt to kick things off, because the Mini Blue Squad has big, bad, and ugly things coming up, while they now spy on G and J, cleaning the mess of the past battles, and hinting the entire Green Lantern Corps is next up on the chopping block. Issue number 0 was included in this book, and it decided to focus on Gardner's origins, beginning an unsaid amount of years ago during Guy's opening days as a Green Lantern, and being tossed directly into one hell of a fight after he has to watch a bunch of other new GLC recruits be butchered by vicious spine-ripping alien known by Czar. Things then cut 3 months back to the Baltimore Police Academy and a pre-superhero biker guy visiting his older brother Gerard, who he looks like in present day because right now he's in his Kyle Rayner hairstyle phase, and also his younger sister Gloria is seen here because these two Gardners are cops. However, there's animosity between Guy and his father due to him being booted out of earning a badge. Anywho, an old cop friend of Guy named Marcus is met as well before it's suggested by his big brother to make amends with their dad. Even more backstory is shown next, with Guy visiting Pops at home, wherein we find out Mother Jillian passed away, and also the Gardners have been police officers in Maryland since friggin' 1860, up until Guy, that is, who claims false reports got him expelled, but this conversation is cut short mid-picture smashing as Guy hears a dire situation involving injured cops on a police scanner his dad keeps around, and he for some reason knows Gerard is a part of it. How does he even know that with no mention of details? I don't know, and I don't care. Moving along, a large street gang has wounded Gerard after search attempts, resulting in his life about to be ended. However, thankfully, his brother revs onto the scene just in time for the save, and after some Evel Knievel stuff, Guy beats down some of the gangsters, unfortunately discovers Buddy Marcus is dead, and then loads Gerard into a cop cruiser under a barrage of bullets. Except he only needs a couple, sacrificing his motorcycle by blowing up the engine, allowing an escape. Not only that, but because of his actions here, Guy is found by a Green Lantern ring, thus officially welcoming him to the Corps, which is a much better entrance into it than his previous one that's rather boring. My question is, in the New 52, who owned the ring before him? Obviously, with this newly acquired status, Guy brings these events to a close super quickly, allowing him to mention he'll outdo the Green Lantern in the Justice League. So this confirms Gardner was a Lantern in this event before John, and if you're wondering how Guy first met Hal Jordan, well, he showcased immediately that he's gonna be a formidable Green Lantern member, taking down Zar single-handedly, going on to lock him up on Oa and truly be granted full-fledged membership thanks to Kilowog, who later introduces him to Hal after Gardner switches up his Lantern suit to the one we all know in order to look ready for the first handshake with Jordan. Alright. You may notice that I'm leaving out issues 13 and 14 because those pertain to the Rise of the Third Army crossover, which will be covered in its own videos. So, for what's reviewed here regarding the plot, Peter Tomasi never disappoints. The first volume was a get-to-know the Green Lantern Corps, introducing a bunch of characters to work with going forward, and this one made sure Green Lanterns 2 and 3 were both worth your time. Just the overall camaraderie among all the GLs was presented in commendable ways. There were also hectic battle scenes balanced with some real heartfelt stuff with Kurt's family and Johnny, Varex being torn between two sides that results in decisions that consume him. I also liked how Guy's backstory was altered a bit, as he wasn't just backup to Hal, and with his dad originally called Roland, not being an abusive drinker. It's an overused trope for me, but the drinking is still present here. It was also prevalent early as well that each Green Lantern family book plot had to move toward the rise of the Third Army, and this title using the Alpha Lanterns in villainous manner fit in place effortless. Sliding over to dialogue, it was a solid dose of memorable moments. From Guy telling the Alphas to grow spines when it came to carrying out executions, to arguing with his father as the young black sheep in his family. Then you had John, the rock and a very hard place man. Almost all of his scenes had you hanging on his every word, displaying his humility, wisdom, and courage. A perfect yin and yang between him and Gardner. On to the art now, there's nothing to not like about it. The vivid, vibrant, verdant images, the two stars were looking good throughout, the fight scenes were crazy in the best way possible, the Alpha Lantern's freaky, emotionless designs were a solid little addition, and of course, the huge amount of variously creative Green Lantern members included was the cherry on top of it all. I really like seeing what some of these artists come up with for the members. That's gonna do it all for this review, and I want to quickly mention that Red Lanterns, Green Lantern New Guardians, Green Lantern Corps, and Green Lantern Vol.2 will be covered fully in multiple part videos involving the massive crossovers known as Rise of the Third Army and Wrath of the First Lantern. So please like, share, and subscribe, please follow me on all my social media platforms, and to please join me next time for Green Lanterns Vol.2.